The Dolphins, a little bit of a surprise, have fired Mike McDaniel, their head coach. I don't blame him for all the Miami losses. I don't think he's the ultimate culture changer. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a scheme guy. I don't think he's a culture guy. I don't think he's really an NFL head coach. I think he's a brilliant coordinator. Dolphins owner Stephen Ross met with him this week and just didn't feel right rolling it back. Also a story this morning, the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross has a connection to the Harbaugh family. The coveted New York Giants job, which we said yesterday was the second best job to Baltimore, is it now third? Baltimore's the best job open. Currently open, it's the best job. Lamar Jackson, great roster, amazing culture. That's the best job. I said yesterday, Giants, second best job. I'm bullish on the Giants for a lot of reasons. Jackson Dart, Neighbors, Andrew Thomas, Scattaboo, Abdul Carter, a lot of reasons. But Miami probably now, what I'm hearing, gives control to John Harbaugh to choose the GM. And the Giants, they retained Joe Shane, in the league not considered elite. So suddenly the coveted New York Giant job yesterday is at best third to a guy like John Harbaugh. And we said this yesterday. The Giants don't need another coordinator and roll the dice on it. They don't even need necessarily a scheme guy. They need a culture changer. They haven't had a good culture since Tom Coughlin. So Baltimore could use a scheme guy because they have a great culture. Stefanski'd be great in Baltimore. So, and remember, John Harbaugh knowing Miami connection, the Giants are interested, though they haven't talked. I would guess if I was John Harbaugh or his agent, I'd wait and see what happens Buffalo against Jacksonville this weekend. Because if Buffalo loses, I have to believe maybe how they lose, but if they lose, Josh Allen's looking for a coach with a great left tackle, with a great running back, with a superstar quarterback. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So then, if Buffalo loses, the New York Giants job, in my opinion, second most coveted job yesterday, is now 4. You'd have Buffalo would be number 1, Baltimore would be number 2. If Harbaugh can choose his GM, suddenly now Miami is 3, and the Giants are at best 4. Well, folks, there are never 4 great coaching candidates. Then you get into coordinators. Right now you have 2 great candidates. John Harbaugh, the best culture changer on the market, just like his brother was a couple years ago, like Vrabel was. And Stefanski, I think, can do the culture thing, but he's really knows schematically. He's a very, very smart guy. You could attach him to a Lamar Jackson, the culture and the talent, the roster's already there. Ravens would be favored to win their division, and the minute you hire Kevin Stefanski. So there's an old saying, strike when the iron is hot. If Jim Harbaugh can coach in SoCal, then John Harbaugh can coach in South Miami Beach. Like, they work just fine. I know you think Harbaugh is cold weather. Nah, Jim's doing just fine in L.A. John would do just fine in South Beach. So my guess is the Miami news today, McDaniel out, connection, Ross family and Harbaugh's. If I'm the New York Giants, I probably jump on Kevin Stefanski and offer him the job today. I would probably offer, if I ran the New York Giants today, I would offer Stefanski the job. I'm not waiting. I don't want to play musical chairs and get left without a chair with Harbaugh. Because let's be honest, Buffalo's a better job with Josh Allen. I'm not even mentioning Green Bay. I don't think Harbaugh and his personality works in Green Bay, Jim or John. But that could be an attractive job for Kevin Stefanski. So forget just for a second the John Harbaugh piece. Stefanski, you have Jackson Dart, a lot of your talents on offense. Neighbors, Andrew Thomas, Scattaboo, Jackson Dart, probably draft a tight end. Wouldn't it be nice to have an offensive coach? Even temperament, not as intense as Daboll. Wouldn't that be nice? But what if Green Bay, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami? I mean, so Stefanski now, I would love to be Kevin Stefanski's agent today. He's got all the leverage in the world. And if I'm the New York Giants, I probably go out and I hire Stefanski and let him build his staff. Because remember, John Harbaugh is going to build a staff. Stephen Ross is the second or third richest owner. So Harbaugh is going to get his pick of the litter in Miami on the staff. You don't want to hire the fourth coach who's getting the fourth best receiver coach, the fourth best offensive line coach. If you hire Stefanski today, you get a jump on Harbaugh, who's probably waiting for the weekend results. Don't let Stefanski, so it's the old Sean McVay interview with the Rams. They wouldn't let him leave the building. They're like, Stan Kroenke and Les Snead are like, we can't let this kid leave the building. So I think it's very interesting that this Miami job could have screwed up the New York Giants. And the other thing, if you're Harbaugh, New York and Miami, there's got to be a lot of guys. The richer owner is Miami. No state tax. Very attractive to free agents. Miami's always one of those. You can look at the Jets and Giants and say, what a train wreck. The truth is, Miami doesn't bottom out much. Even though they miss on coaches and quarterbacks, it always feels like they're hovering around 500. Hell, Brady for years struggled going down to Miami and beating them. Tom Brady struggled for years against inferior teams. He and Belichick would go down there. So Miami never feels like they bottom out. I think it's an attractive job. So this is really, really interesting. That Miami just threw a wrench into the Giants. You can listen. It feels like everybody is scrambling for a homecoming date, right? Everybody's looking for a date here. And if I'm the New York Giants, very quickly after this weekend, if Buffalo and Green Bay lost, how do you know you don't wake up on a Monday morning and you're the fifth best job? But if you go and get a Stefanski and you beat everybody to the punch and he starts building a staff, well, then you're going to get the best O-line coach on the market and the best DC on the market and the best receiver coach on the market. That's an advantage. Crazy. All right, I'm not a big awards guy in terms of like pro sports, Heisman. I used to have a Heisman vote. I'm not really into that stuff. Like, we all know who's good and who isn't. But the Matt Stafford, Drake Maye MVP, and it's down to those two. Folks, I don't think it's terribly close. You have to consider schedules. 13 of 14 New England wins were against teams with losing records. The best team New England played was Buffalo, and they don't have a good defense. So Stafford beat the number 1 defense, Houston, the number 2 defense, Seattle. Against the top 10 defense, Jacksonville, Stafford had 5 touchdowns and no picks. He also played Philadelphia, which is the top 5 defense, and San Francisco twice. And I think we all admit, remarkably, Saleh made that a really decent defense despite having no big-name players. So you have to consider strength of schedule. Why? Because the NFL literally uses it as one of its tiebreakers. So it's like the college football resume thing. You have to consider strength of schedule. And it's not that the Rams had a harder schedule. Here's the problem. The Rams have the number 1 most difficult schedule of all 14 playoff teams. And the Patriots have the weakest NFL schedule in 26 years. You're talking the difference between, the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Mountain West. It's not that New England's schedule is kind of weak. It's the weakest in 26 years. And it's not that the Rams have a tough schedule. It's the number 1 toughest schedule of the 14 remaining playoff teams. Stafford had better numbers against much better competition. I'm not saying they both didn't get a 4.0 GPA, but Stafford was taking AP courses to get his 4 Houston, Seattle twice, Saleh twice, Jacksonville, Philadelphia. If you look at Matt against playoff teams this year, over 2,000 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 107 passer rating. That's against playoff teams. You have to consider schedule. The NFL literally does for its tiebreakers. Listen, Drake Maye, a little bit of it is the shiny new object syndrome. He's the new toy. Everybody, the new popular kid in school. I get it. Drake Maye's fantastic. But you're talking about the easiest schedule in 26 years, and the best team they played really isn't a great defensive team in Buffalo. That was the tough one. Sorry, I got to go with Matt Stafford. PFF, by the way, on all their metrics has Stafford number one, and they list several. He was, best on play action, best against playoff teams, best on this, best on that. PFF knocks it down to data, and it's Stafford. Doesn't mean I don't think Drake Maye is not going to win 4 of them.